Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Got a lot to continue to talk about. You know, your internet, your websites, these things are really very important. And Chris Hudspeth, he is with an excellent company called Humankind SEO. That's humankindseo.com. He's really very well versed in this topic, which is why we love to bring him on, and love to bring on his guest, who I think is particularly qualified today. Chris, tell us a little bit about Humankind SEO, and then introduce us to your guest today.
Thank you, Kevin, for having me on again. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Humankind SEO builds websites. We create web content for marketing purposes. So when website owners want more traffic, it usually means they want more content, or they want their website to do something better or something that it doesn't currently do now. And we have a lot of questions that come from our clients. And one common one that we're going to tackle today is, so you think you own your website. I paid a few $1,000, had my website built. I'm paying a couple $100 in hosting. I'm having trouble now moving my website. And so I have brought Jeremy Hall with the Hall Law Firm to assist us in the legalities of, do you own your website when you pay a web developer to have it built?
Ooh, I guess that has a lot to do with what you wrote in an agreement with that website developer.
Yes, Kevin, it does. And thank you for having me on. I'm pleased to be here. It is very important to have an agreement with your web designer, web developer before you commission the work. And we can help you write that agreement with the Hall Law Firm. We work for entrepreneurs and business owners, and we help negotiate contracts just like this, like the contract that you need to have with your web designer. We can also help you if you find yourself in the unfortunate situation where you're asking the question that Chris just posed, do I own my website? And if I'm not sure or I don't own it, what can I do about it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you, how long have you been working in this specific area? I'm just curious. And this is because it's a relatively new area.
Yes, it is. I've been practicing law for a little bit over 5 years now. And I started out working for a consulting firm dealing with issues like this specifically for one business. And I've been practicing on my own through the Hall Law Firm for about 18 months, helping a variety of business owners tackle issues like this.
Very good. Chris?
So one area where Jeremy can really help us out today is, I've got a client, and he had someone else build his website, paid a couple $1,000. They built the website. He loves it. And then they charge him a $200 a month fee for hosting and maintenance on that website. And he's happy with it, but he does some research, and he finds companies out there like Bluehost that offer hosting for $4.95 a month. And he's interested in transferring his website to this less expensive host platform to save that $200 he's spending with the developer, maybe apply it towards something else for his marketing needs. And that's where he runs into trouble. The web developer is now not very helpful at all in releasing that information and allowing him to transfer that website. And it's because the web developer really isn't interested in losing that $200 revenue stream every month that client is paying. If we have a client, or if there are listeners out there that have that situation, what can they do? What are their options?
And they do have several options, Chris. And Kevin, we know your listeners are smart because they're listening to your show, and they probably heard the phrase, possession is 9/10 of the law.
Sure.
And in this case, that's very true. But if you find yourself in the situation where you don't have possession, you don't have control over your website, whether you've hired a web developer to develop your site and you don't have access, or you have a disgruntled former employee that's refusing to turn over the passcodes to your website, like in the case that Chris just described, you need to negotiate to get that site back. Bringing a claim and suing someone, hiring me to go to bat for you in a court of law should not be your first option.
Right.
In fact, I tell all of my entrepreneur clients that negotiation should be your first option. And there are several creative solutions that you can employ.
And it would seem like shame would come before a lawyer.
Absolutely.
I would be sending, making calls to the Better Business Bureau, maybe even sending, notices to the media. I would let a lot of people know. I contact networking groups. I would let people know how I'm being mistreated here.
Well, and that's a great idea, and that's the first instinct of a lot of entrepreneurs, and we do recommend looking at that option. The problem with that option is if you get in a PR battle with a marketing firm, it's likely that you're going to lose. Mm-hmm. And that negative goodwill does have an impact, but going directly to the person that you have an issue with and offering a creative solution, such as, what's a termination fee that I can pay your firm to take back control of this website and use someone else? What is an estimate of damages that I can give you? What does it cost you to acquire a new customer to take my place so you can give me control of my website back and I can go hire someone else?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very interesting. All right. We're getting near the end here. Chris, any final thoughts? And I do want to, real quickly before you do that, I do want to mention it's Hall, Hall firm.com. And Jeremy Hall, great guest today. Thank you for being with us. And Chris, any final thoughts, comments?
Well, yes, we always have questions, and it seems like email come into me and into the Hall firm virtually every week asking about certain legalities, and we want to welcome those questions because we know that there's you're swimming in a sea of uncertainty whenever you have a problem with your website. You can always reach out to humankindseo.com, and you can contact us and on Twitter at humankindseo, and you can do the same with the Hall Law Firm, and you can contact Jeremy Hall if you have simple questions. Sometimes we can just help you point you in the right direction, and I'll let Jeremy give his information as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. You can find me on Twitter at Hall Firm Lawyer, and go to hallfirm.com to contact me, and I'd love to help you. I love helping entrepreneurs from the jump with things like acquiring a domain name, negotiating a contract with a web designer so you don't find yourself in the unfortunate situation where you don't know who owns your website.
Jeremy Hall, he's been our guest. He's a guest of Chris Hudspeth and myself here on The Price of Business. Jeremy Hall can be found at Hall Firm, Hall firm.com. Chris Hudspeth, he's a contributor here on the program, and you can learn more about him at humankindseo.com. Gentlemen, great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us, Kevin.
Help our listeners navigate through some dicey waters when it comes to their internet. All right, when we come back, their websites. When we come back, much more for you. I do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdatareview.com, and this is The Price of Business.